Chris, welcome back to Win or Learn. You've been going on about this for weeks, mate, in my ear roll. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome to the podcast Burnley and England goalkeeper Nick Pope. Thank you very much for coming on. How are you doing?
No worries. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Good. Popey, so you played a little bit hard to get to try and get you on this. I've been double messaging you on Insta, haven't I? But we've got
that's
you.
the way
So
to
happy
play
days.
it, isn't it? Keep them keen, huh? Keep them keen.
Exactly. But just echoing Jake, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I think the last time I saw you in person, I think it was back when you played Spurs away for Charlton under-23s. I don't know if you remember. It was a Wednesday afternoon. I probably bunked off uni to come and watch you, Pig and Foxy. Sorry, Mum.
Yeah.
The score was 10-6 to Spurs.
Yeah, it's
and
some game, love.
You had a good game as well.
Oh, it was mental, mate. I can't believe. I don't even know how it happened. Like, obviously, the lads playing up front, like Pigs. I think Pig, he was buzzing, like, and like he grabbed a couple of goals, and like department was okay, but me in defence were absolutely shattered. Like, we just they had an unbelievable team. I can't remember like near 1 to 11, but they like. I don't know if some of them were like a bit pissed off of not playing or something, but yeah, they definitely made a point. Jesus.
Yeah, I seem to remember they had a Mr. Harry Kane playing as well. So
yeah, I did. I think Kane, I think Chadley, like Lamella, like, and like we didn't have anyone over the age of like 22, I don't think. So yeah, it was a bit of a lesson.
Yeah. The bottom line is though, you've come a long way, mate, haven't you? So
yeah.
You're an England international now.
Thankfully,
Premier League footballer, 4-time England caps. So fair play to you. And I think, the reason why we do this podcast is to explore people's journeys and, their feelings, not just through life, but how they've got to where they are. And obviously wanted to have a little chat to start with and talk about your journey, because I know it's been a very interesting one. And just wondered if we could take you back to the start of it. Where did you start your football and how did Nick Pope's journey begin?
So I started off probably, what age do you want me to go here? And I suppose like, started playing football at 8 years old, played locally, got picked up by Ipswich at 10, so had years there, 10 to 16. It was like really good, like unbelievable setup. It was a team I supported as a boy, so obviously else you'd rather play kind of thing. Unbelievable staff there, and like the facilities were unbelievable, and allowed me to go and watch the games as well. So it was perfect. It came to an end when I was 16. Well, it wasn't good enough. Got the chop. Great for me. Also, hindsight, wonderful thing. Absolutely, obviously devastated at the time, gutted. But obviously, looking back, was absolutely the best thing that could have happened to me. So, allowed me to go to a college, West Suffolk College in Edmonds. So I went there for 3 years. Still with my football. I had a good, really unbelievable football setup there. Allowed me to train every day. I'd played bucket loads of games. Some of them men's football for the first time when I was 16. So just gave me like an unbelievable environment to improve. And from there, 3 years later, I was just about to go to university in Nottingham and had a trial at Charlton Athletic, and then thankfully they gave me another chance in the professional game.
So when you were 16 and you got released, what was your emotions there? Did you think that was the end of the road? Did you always think, no, I'm going to get back to it? I'm going to keep turning up, keep pushing myself to try and get that contract?
No, very much kind of felt the end of the road. I've been there 6 years. It's kind of a long time. And 16-year-old, just still young. It just feels like literally the end of the world to you. So at that point, I think starting college was just everything needed. I left a school that I'd been at for like 8-9 years, the same school, and I'd left obviously a football team that I'd been going to Ipswich, 3-4 times a week for 6 years. Just allowed me to kind of reset and kind of set new goals and have a new focus in life and meet like new people and untold amount of new people, because I went to college where I didn't know anyone that I played football with from Ipswich, and I didn't know anyone that I went to school with. So literally, everyone I met there it was just something that I took the dive obviously into that kind of new environment. It worked out.
Good. So I know a lot of your team from Charlton. You just touched on there. You joined there at 16. They're a lot of your lifelong friends now, aren't they? And I know you all go in different directions in football. And we were doing our research before on some of your loan spells, and it looks like an interesting stage of your career. But a lot of your mates, your teammates, become a lot of your, I don't know, not brothers in arms. Probably going a bit too far here. But you're going in different directions, but you all stay in touch. And from what I understand, and that your friendships develop that way in football.
Yeah, I think very much when you get older in football, and you maybe move clubs and you don't have time to kind of develop that sort of kind of friendship or relationship or whatever. But when you're younger, you haven't got as many commitments off the pitch, and you are spending a lot of time together. And obviously with a couple of lads I live with as well, so you're training together all day, and then you're going home together as well and living in the evening together. So you build, I think, stronger friendships that way, and than as you would as an older footballer or someone just older in life. I think that's probably where you build your really strong kind of friendships through that.
So you're talking there, you mentioned just some loan spells. We were having a look at your Wikipedia. Few loan spells in there, sometimes just a couple of appearances. What was that period like where you were just going from club to club? And what's that like when you've got to try and settle in and make a name for yourself at a new club on a regular basis?
I just kind of saw it as like opportunity, really. Obviously, I knew going to Harrow Borough, if I'd done well, I was never going to play for Charlton like the next week in League One or the Championship. But if I'd done well for Harrow Borough, then I could get a loan move to the Conference South, and then if I did well in the Conference South, I could get to the next level and the next level, and we're always gaining experience by doing that and playing good football. I think although it's obviously a lot lower down the period, you're playing real football. I think under 23s football. I had a little bit of reserve team football actually when I started at Charlton, but it's never going to be as intense. There's never that like 3 points on the line kind of feeling with fans in the ground. So I think it was something that was just massive for my development, and every time I went on loan, I just saw it as an opportunity. Sometimes it was really tough. Sometimes it went really well. It's kind of one of them, whether it went well or went bad, you kind of take the good in the bag and use that experience to make the next loan a better one, and more enjoyable, and put yourself in a better place. So it's something that I suppose, like from college, I kind of took meeting all them people in one go. Then you're doing that in the football world. When I joined Charlton, it was the same thing, and every loan was the same thing with meeting new people and new teammates, and obviously having to get on the pitch straight away and perform together.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned there around the highs and lows. We'll sort of come on to that when we sort of finish off your journey. And I sort of know from knowing you that the journey from playing for Charlton to Burnley was quite a quick one for you. I think it was only 30 odd appearances. Did you expect that, or did you? I know you would have been trying to push for it, but really, did you feel that happening as you were playing better and getting more first team experience? How did that go?
When I kind of broke into the team, probably the February time of the season, I moved. Obviously, the end of the season, I moved to Burnley. So as soon as you get in the team, you're kind of concentrating on that. And obviously, we were fighting relegation and trying to get points on the board. So you're not really thinking too much about, if I do well for the next game, then this might happen or this might happen. So I think I was very much focused on that. And obviously, for me as well, not only playing to stay in the team or get a move, but then if I'd done well, then even if we still got relegated, I'd be in kind of a top League One team playing every week, which probably been a step forward in my career. Or if we'd have stayed up, I'd have been in a position to a championship number one. So something that didn't really take my focus until after the last game of the season, when obviously we're relegated by that time. You hear about potential options you might have.
Yeah, I know as well. You've got quite a young family now, haven't you? You've got a missus and two young kids, and obviously, how did they adapt to the move and support you through that?
it's hard. Like, you know, I think people in football do it different ways. You know, you can either kind of try and set up a base and kind of live around that, or I think you kind of all move together to your new area, and obviously, which is probably away from family and friends you've already built up. And that, you know, that's a route we take, and I totally respect, you know, people doing different ways. It's totally everyone's decision and what everyone's comfortable with and what everyone is best for themselves. But you know, we just all moved up, you know, and I started kind of a new life like near Manchester. So it's one of them. It's part and parcel of football. You kind of, you know, the career is a short one. It doesn't go on forever, you know. So when the opportunity comes up to move to a Premier League club, you know, you'd snap your hand off.
So when you signed for Burnley and you become that first choice goalkeeper, how did you feel? Like, did you feel like you was at your peak there? Like, you're in your prime, you're playing Premier League football, and you get a call for the first time for the England squad. Are you just feeling on top of the world at that point? You know, talk to us how that first England call, the one we all dream of as young boys, kicking a ball around the park, that phone call. Talk to us about that experience.
I'm still waiting for mine. So.
Yeah, you won't get one. You will not get one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was at my peak. Like, I was probably 30 games, probably less than that, 25 games into my Premier League career. So I was just kind of enjoying playing week in, week out in the Premier League for the first time, and in a Burnley team that was chasing, you know, European football. So, you know, really exciting. And obviously it was my first season playing for Burnley, my first season playing in the Premier League, and, you know, the team was doing well. I felt like I was doing well. So I was kind of riding the wave and obviously really enjoying, you know, football at that point. And then kind of before the March international break, so that was kind of the first England squad for 4 months, and I felt like I'd had a good season up to that point. Obviously a World Cup was around the corner, so kind of hoping that might sneak in the back door to kind of go there kind of out of nowhere, but obviously realising if I didn't get in this March squad, it would have been, you know, really unlikely. So I remember we played West Ham on the Saturday. Kind of all this is kind of it's always in the back of your head, and there's always stuff written about it. There's hundreds of people asking you about it, you know, family, friends. What do you think? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? But yeah, it's all good news. It's all positive. You know, you just like riding the wave. Things are going well. So obviously went to West Ham that Saturday. Got battered a little bit in the first half. You know, made a couple of saves, done quite well, and then second half, you know, I ran away with it and, you know, won 3-0, and it was. Just remember at the end of that game thinking, like, unbelievable. Whatever happens, like, maybe I don't get called up, maybe I do, but, you know, I've done well. I can be proud of myself. I've put in the right effort, and, you know, today on the back of an international break, you know, couldn't have gone any better. So it was I had a good feeling after that, and then kind of the week after. I got called into the office at Burnley, and it was me and, you know, James Tarkowski, and kind of the manager let us know that, you know, we'd been England squad together. So it was yeah, it was class to, you know, have him break the news to us, and be with obviously Tarks as well. You know, when I sat in the office, it's normally can be a bad thing. Like, so when Tarks was next to me, I kind of felt a lot more comfortable. Yeah, so yeah, it was class.
Good. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, mate. I'll start with the first one. What did it feel like putting on the England jersey for the first time? You know, I can imagine, I'm a goalkeeper as well. I never quite made it to your level, unfortunately. But I know that how nerve-wracking, what a pressurised position it is. Now, making your Premier League debut for me would be, I can't even imagine that, but let alone making it for England in front of the whole nation.
Yeah.
First question, how did that feel?
The England one?
The England debut, yeah.
Yeah, so before the World Cup, obviously made the World Cup squad at this point, and there was 2 warm-up games, one at Wembley and one at Ellen Road, the second one. And the night before the game, goalie coach kind of knocked on my door and said, you know, I'm not saying too much, but, you know, make sure your parents are there tomorrow, and whoever else who's been on a journey with you and whatever, you know, just give you a heads up, basically. Wouldn't want to miss it. So obviously I had a really good feeling at that point. Kind kind of remember kind of sleeping really well. You know, it was a friendly against Costa Rica at home, and I'm thinking, no, amazing. I was never going to start the game. I was going to come on for like 20 minutes at the end. So, something really looking forward to. And, just remember doing a warm up and half time, kind of waiting for, the curly finger to say, on you go. So I think we were 1-0 up in the game, and it was going well. Unbelievable atmosphere as well. I think when England play on the road, like away from Wembley, the atmosphere is always top class, whether it's down south or up north. So ground was buzzing, really good spirit in the squad, and a real good buzz around the group at that time. So obviously going into a World Cup, so it was it was perfect to come on in that moment. Scored another goal, 1-2-0. Perfect preparation to then go into a World Cup tournament.
Yeah. What did Gareth give it? Popey go and get warmed up, one of those off the bench.
Yeah. You're going on in goal, not up front. Yeah, it's,
not the number 9. Put it away.
Yeah. Put the right shirt on. Put the right shirt on.
Yeah. There's still time, mate. Don't worry. But you mentioned that, so this leads perfectly onto my second question, mate, about the World Cup. Now, you were out there at that time, and we were obviously back in the pubs getting battered because of the "it's coming home" movement. Now, it'd just be like incredible insight, for us and our audience, just to sort of understand, what was it like as players literally, mate, the whole country, I know that's a bit of an understatement, was behind you, but it was more than ever, because the way the team played, the progress they, to get to semi-finals.
Yeah.
And it's still better we didn't get through. But, what was it like being out there and experience the support from sort of underneath the country?
Yeah, it was class. I don't think you could ever kind of grasp how big it was. If you're in a country like a massive country, and we were in like this hotel in a forest, like not really around people kind of thing. So you kind of after the game, you're going straight back there, and obviously with tournament football, I found what is quite weird. Like you go to a game, and if you lose, you're flying home the next day. So like you're not packing your bags, but you're thinking you could be packing your bags if you lose. So like to have that sort of on the edge feeling and win, and then going back to the hotel, just unbelievable buzz of winning a knockout game in a tournament, and obviously the biggest tournament of them all. And then so we had fans in the ground. The atmospheres in the ground were class, like for all the games. Remember, and then you always kind of got that thing of you get on the bus after the game and you kind of videos over social media of what it was like at home, and it just looked like it was absolute madness. Like I think, yeah, it
was just me and you in the middle of the street, just jumping up and down,
on the traffic light.
Yeah. So just kind of that's how you got the feeling of kind of what it was like back home. But obviously, I had unbelievable support out there, and obviously, knew that we had a terrific amount of support back home as well. So it was kind of just riding that sort of wave. Yeah.
So you mentioned it just a second ago about the different pressures of being a goalie. Now you played in goal. I can't get to grips with how that position would have more pressure than the rest of the field. But can you tell us the pressures of being a goalie? You're the last line of defence. If you make a mistake, it's pretty much a goal. Whereas if a centre mid makes a mistake, it's just a misplaced pass. Do you feel that pressure at all now, or is that just part and parcel of what you do?
I think it's part and parcel, something that you kind of learn to live with or learn to play with. I think that's where we're coming from as a goalkeeper. Other people make a mistake and there's always a goalie behind them or 10 others, but where if a goalie makes a mistake, it's normally, costly and normally looks horrific. So it's just one of them things that you kind of grow used to. You kind of see as normal. You got to see it as everyone makes mistakes, like whether an outfield player or a goalkeeper or a person walking in the street, everyone makes mistakes in life. So it's just about normalizing it. Don't be scared of them, or don't make that affect your game. It's kind of about, do what you can to affect the game in the best possible way. And I don't really think about it. Some mistakes are something that are going to happen throughout a season, throughout however long. So it's just about responding, and when they happen, obviously, I still feel shit. Like when you make a mistake, like it's rubbish, but it's about, you know, parking it as quickly as possible and moving on. You know, there's still minutes to play. You know, you're still fighting. So I think it's something that with experience you definitely learn to kind of park and then move on.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, we do a lot of stuff on here to try and not promote mental health, but to spread a message and talk about, you know, some of our own experiences and how people combat it in a day-to-day life. We've also touched on social media quite a lot.
Yeah.
For me, the two of those come hand in hand, especially, you know, being a goalkeeper, if you make an error or a footballer in general, there is a backlash on Twitter, right? Or whatever platform it is. You know, not you individually, but footballers in general. How do you guys get supported to deal with those low moments and, you know, the backlash of the pressures of the world, really?
I think you're supported by either people around you, whether that's your family or, you know, your friends you're close to, or your teammates that may have been through similar things or know what you're going through. I think, you know, it's all about you kind of support kind of group, if you like, or the, you know, the bubble close around you. You know, if I save a penalty and we win 1-0, like I've got, you know, 1,000 WhatsApps. That if I chuck one in and we lose 1-0, you get a couple. Yeah, if you're lucky, maybe not even that. So that's just part and parcel. You know, I think when you're in a family or in a friendship kind of circle, you know, sometimes you need to lean people, and sometimes people need to lean on you if they're going through low moments or tough moments. So I think that's a massive part of, you know, dealing with that sort of thing.
So we know last year was a bit mad for the whole world with COVID. What was it like as a footballer during lockdown? Were you still trying to train? I know I saw some clips on social media, some footballers in their back garden trying to do what they can. And what was that period of, like, when's football coming back? How did you prepare for that?
Strava wanker.
Yeah. So, it was a lovely time, that. Yeah, obviously, my back garden was absolute building site, so there was no football going on out there. I tell you that. It was there was no grass. So I think it was weird, kind of like you say, look, kind of the not knowing of if football's coming back, when's it coming back? You know, when's training going to restart? When's the season going to restart? And if that's all going to happen, like at the time, you know, I think everyone's in the same boat as coronavirus, but how dangerous is it, and where is it dangerous, and, you know, how likely is it or whatever to affect me and your life. So I think there's a lot of kind of uncertainty around that time. I think big one for, like, you get time to, you kind of using that time wisely. I think, you know, I think would have been, it's so easy just to sit at home and watch TV or be on your phone all day, and then another day ticks by and you're not really left the house. You know what I mean? So I think that was a big thing for me, was obviously taking up cycling. I'm gonna drop it in because it was a big part of what helped me during, you know, lockdown, was to have a new focus. You know, as a goalkeeper, like, I never felt like if I went running that was going to do me many favors, like, or if I, like, running on a road, or, you know, running to do a marathon like some people do, you know. I didn't think that was going to help me on my football, but I felt like taking up cycling and have that new kind of focus would help me, you know, keep and build muscles around my legs and my knees and my quads, and help me stay fit that way. Obviously, keep the weight off as well, which, you know, I don't want to go back to a Premier League club in 9 games to go, 12 kilos overweight. Like, it looks horrific, and I ain't gonna be able to move in the goal. So it was something that, you know, went online, bought a bike, which was hard to do at the time as well, by the way, because everyone was buying bikes. Got some Lycra and, yeah, went on my way. Downloaded a couple of apps, and like I say, yeah, it gave me a new focus, and a new, like, it gave me like the feeling like I could still improve my game, and still, you know, was focused on football and staying fit, and, you know, looking after myself in the best way. So when the season did restart, I was in, you know, the best possible shape to kind of go again.
Yeah. I really appreciate the insight we're getting through this, and sort of, you know, your journey and how you deal with things, and, you know, especially during the lockdown stuff, and, you know, staying fit and the mental side of it. So before we sort of round this up, what does the future hold for Nick Pope? You've got the Euros coming up this summer. We'll be in World Cup next year. It's going to be a bumper time. Aspirations of goal for you as a person.
Obviously, to be part of the next two tournaments will be massive. Obviously, 2 in 18 months. Don't think it's ever happened before. First Winter World Cup in a new country. Obviously, possibility of Euros with games at Wembley. So, loads of exciting things on the horizon. So, like determination-wise and kind of hunger-wise, everything's there. To kind of be motivated to the absolute maximum to do my best. So I think that's a big thing for me. I think still playing Premier League games. I got my 100th the other day, like massive achievement, something I'm really proud of. So love to kind of build on that total and like I say, more and doing the same with England as well.
Yeah. One thing I've got to ask you: you are a starter in my fantasy football team. Are you in your own fantasy football team?
It's actually something I had to give it up because, I had a rule. I did fantasy football. I can't remember last year or the year before, but so I'd have a team, and then if we played against anyone, I'd have to bench them or sub them out because I couldn't look at myself in the evening if someone's got points against my team, if you like, being playing the Premier League. And then I swear, 6 weeks in a row, people I was subbing out or selling or whatever was scoring against me or do you know what I mean? Or getting points against me. I just I say I can't even do it anymore. I can't even look at it anymore. So that's what stopped me doing it. So I never had myself in either. So that's the answer to that question. But I can't play fantasy football now either for that reason.
If it was me, I would have triple captained Aguero if I was playing against him, just let them all in. That's just me. But Pope, we both want to say thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're on England duty the past couple of weeks, taking the time out to speak to us. It's incredibly kind of you, mate, and we both really appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and hopefully do this again one day.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Win or learn, as we say.
Spot on. Cheers for having me, lads. Nice one.
Take care, mate.
Cheers, man.